Hello, everybody. I am Thomas Miller. I'm an acquisition specialist. Today, we're talking about high and low profile stretch wrappers. Today, we're going to go over where to find on Sigma's website, define the type of equipment, how and where customers use this equipment, upstream, downstream, our favored manufacturers, our benefits and features, and questions and key points when talking to clients and customers. So where to find on our website, if you hit the drop-down menu and go to packaging equipment, and then you scroll down to stretch wrapper, you'll find high profile and low profile turntable stretch wrapper. Stretch wrapper is a piece of equipment that automatically wraps pallets with stretch wrap film. This keeps the products housed inside of the pallet, contained and safe from damage. The main purposes of the stretch wrapper are to make products easier to transport in bulk and protect individual products from damage during shipping, and so they arrive at their destination unharmed. With this specific one, starts at the bottom, it'll wrap the bottom a little bit, and then it'll work its way up, and it has a photo eye sensor that realizes essentially when it's at the top, it'll wrap the top a few more times, and then it'll begin to work its way down. Upstream, downstream. The upstream equipment's going to be your case erector, your case sealer, palletizer, and strapper. Downstream, this is really the end of the line for most production. You may have a chain-driven conveyor to be able to take your wrap skid off of the stretch wrapper, and then possibly a forklift if it's a high profile. Location of production line, like I said, you got your case erector, your tray and case loader, your shrink bundling system feeding into that. You may have your case sealer, labelers, then you'd have like your palletizers, strappers, and then like I said at the end, you'd have your stretch wrapper. For integration, two pieces that are best suited to go with it. Your top one's going to be a palletizer. It makes for more efficiently stacked pallets. It's going to increase your production speed. It's going to have more accurate pallet stack, and it can have different patterns of stacking depending on what you have. And then also a labeler. It's going to also increase your production speed. It's going to effectively label packaging prior to wrapping. It's going to make labeling your product a lot simpler. So mine is over high and low profile. I wanted to go over the pros and cons for both of those. The pros for a low profile is a forklift isn't required for pallet removal. You can use a pallet jack. If it's got a ramp, you can drive that up on there and pull it off. It decreases your chance of damage and it increases your production. The con on that one is it doesn't wrap as low as the high profile, which brings it to a pro for that. It does have the ability to wrap your product a little closer to the skid, a little more around the bottom of the pallet. The con on a high profile is it is forklift removal only. That's the only way you can get it off of there, and it can decrease your productivity if the forklift goes down. So,
welcome to Sigma Equipment. Today's cycle test includes a WolfTech SML 150 low-profile pallet stretch wrapper. This machine is running on 120 volts one phase. It has a maximum wrap height of 116 inches, using film with a width of 20 inches. The maximum load weight for this wrapper is 4,000 pounds. This wrapper comes equipped with a photo eye sensor that can detect the top of the skid, which determines the travel height of the carriage. The control panel offers many adjustments for the machine. The top and bottom wrap counter allows for a user to decide how many full wraps the machine will complete on the bottom and top of the product. The film tension dial adjusts the amount of tension that stretch rollers put on the film before the wrapping application. The amount of tension will decide how much the film will shrink once on the product. The rotation speed adjustment determines how fast the product platform will rotate. There are also dials to adjust the up and down speed of the film carriage. The operator has the option to manually move the carriage up or down if they would like to focus on specific areas of the product to wrap more or less. The rotation of the skid or pallet can also be set to manual. This can be beneficial when placing product labels on each side of the wrapped product for identification purposes. The wrapping process starts by loading the film on the film reel, making sure that the arrows in the core are pointed down. After opening the carriage door, the film must be fed through the tension rollers and around the dance bar. The tension rollers stretch the film so that once it wraps around the product, it will compress and shrink the wrap. The dancer bar is on a spring-loaded hinge and is used to call for more film from the carriage. Once a skid of product has been placed on the platform, the film is attached to the skid, pallet, or crate. The operator then uses the control panel to adjust settings for the wrap. Once the operator has customized the wrap settings, the Start-Stop button is pressed to start the wrapping process. To learn more about different types of stretch wrappers, as well as other pieces of equipment, please visit us at sigmaequipment.com.
The next one is a Landtech Q300. It's a pretty common Landtech that we do sell. You can see that he just puts the skid on there and he's using a fork truck. He doesn't have a ramp. The best bet is most people I've noticed just attach your stretch wrap to the skid. But if you can get enough tension in between your product stack, then that works as well. Something to hold on to it as the turntable starts going. Like I said, on this one as well, it starts moving up. The photo eye senses when it's at the top. It'll go around the top a few extra times. Then it'll begin to start working its way down. You want to just secure your top pretty, especially if you have a higher stack, you want to secure that top a little more. And it'll wrap the bottom of the skid a few times, and then that's it. On this one, it is a Wolftech. It's a high profile. You can watch, it's like I said previously, on some of the benefits of a high profile. It's going to wrap your product to the skid a little better than a low profile would. It has the ability, essentially it's already sitting up, so it's got the ability to wrap that a little better. That's one of the biggest benefits that I found as compared to a low profile. Like I said, the downside though is you can only remove it with a fork truck as opposed to a pallet jack on a low profile. And this one also has that cutter on it, so it'll automatically tear a little notch in it and it'll pull away, and that way you're ready for your next one. Our favorite manufacturers, Wolftech is probably our favorite. I know that we moved the most of those. I know that we have some more coming in, some new ones. Landtech as well, Orion, Highlight, and then Cousins. Industries used in, honestly, it's pretty much anything that involves packaging your, product. Just some examples: food, beverage, pet food, chemical, pharmaceutical, household products, automotive, fabricators. Just some examples. Some takeaways: acquisitions. We need to know whether it's high or low profile, the maximum wrap height, the turntable weight limit. Is it a normal or extended mast? Does it have a photo eye or a ramp? And then the electrical specs. For sales, you need to know what product they're going to be running. Do they need high or low profile? The height of the product stack. Do they need a cutter? Their production speed. The dimensions of the product stack, ramp need, and then the pallet size. And as far as for logistics, you need to make sure they take out the shipping bracket. And then on an extended mast, you need to make sure it's laid down. For engineering questions, you need to know the maximum wrap height, what stretch film do you need, stretch film width, how many loads per hour are you needing, what diameter or dimensions of the turntable, and is the product height photo eye needed, and then do you need a ramp as well. Sigma owned example for a high profile is K8348. The production output is 55 loads per hour. The wrap height is 92 inches. The maximum load weight is 4,000 pounds, which I found out is the pretty standard for most of your stretch wrappers. For a low profile, it is R82144, which is this one right here. The turntable diameter is 58 inches. The mast height's 84. The maximum wrap height is 84 inches. And it's got adjustable turntable speed, film carriage speed, and film tension. In summary, stretch wrappers are used to secure loads on a pallet for safer and easier transportation. They allow more product to be shipped out at once. Stacked pallets are typically placed on a turntable via pallet jack or forklift. They can be used in virtually any industry, and it works by attaching shrink wrap film to the pallet while the turntable rotates. It pulls the wrap tightly as it covers the product on the pallet to keep it safe and secure. Any questions, comments, concerns, anything?